morning, all. Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you, Pomti Nagesh. So here I welcome Mr. S.K. Mamidanna, sir, Assistant Professor of Wasabi College of Engineering, on behalf of NILET Gorakhpur, and he'll take session on Excel and Word automation. So I would like to hand over the session to Shashi Kumar Mamidanna, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good morning to you all. I think we are meeting again. So today I'll be discussing about what Excel and Word automation are. And I would also like to take you through another product of UiPath, which is called UiPath Studio X. So the agenda would be pretty simple. We will see what are the various activities which are there in Excel and activities which are available for us in Word. And I think in the previous session, we have seen what was PDF automation as such. So we will try to merge all of these three use cases and see a real automation at work at which you can probably take it as you need down the line. So let me just share my presentation. Give me just 1 minute. Looks like there are just 41 participants yet. So I'll just wait for 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Yes. Okay, so let's start the session. So we'll be talking about these topics today. Just a minute. All right. So we'll be discussing about these topics today, which is Excel automation. What are the components of Excel, which we know already. Manipulating Excel workbooks, activities generally that are used for Excel automation. File level app integration, which is like even though Excel is not installed in your system, it still works. And then when Excel is installed, I think then how you can use. And then activities which allow us to do integration with regards to Excel. Earlier activities which are related to file level, we are going to talk about. Read and write activities from Excel. And finally, we'll take word automation. The reason why I did not start with word automation and went with Excel automation is because most of the Excel automation requirements would need initially how do you do automation with regards to Excel. So that's the reason I thought I'll probably first discuss Excel automation and then go for PDF automation. I mean to say word automation, sorry. And then finally, I would like to demonstrate a small case study which I have built for myself for my own use case, which I am using for the benefit of an NGO. All right, again, it's the content taken from UiPath, so please be sure that we cite this if we are using it anywhere. So I think this is where we stopped in the previous discussion. Just give me one more minute. I just stop the sharing and I'll once again come back. There is something wrong with my system today. 1 second. Should be ready in a while. Just give me 1 minute, quick minute. I just close the tabs. It is complaining, saying there is high CPU usage and I cannot continue. So just give me a minute. All right, slideshow. All right. Okay, so I think it should be fine now. I think somebody asked regarding the recording. I am not sure if the recording is being taken. All videos. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So the video is being recorded. Audio is low. Okay. Hope the audio is clear now. Kindly confirm. Thank you. Thanks a lot. All right. So this is something we discussing in the previous session where we had the first day discussion. So these are examples which I wanted you to was available for you. And if not, then that's all right. So I just wanted to make you see this small student project which I don't call it as a project. It's an assignment which I have given for the students. So they were successful enough in building it. So what it does is it simply scrapes the data from an Excel. So it reads the data from an Excel, and using online tools, which in this case he has used some website called Magic Certificate. Certificate Magic, in fact. So what it does is it reads the content from the CSV, and submits that content here. And essentially, it creates a PDF of the certificate, which we later wanted to give for the students during the fests. So I'll quickly run through this video because it's a repetitive stuff. See, I just wanted you to observe the repetitive activity which is happening here. So all the values are being given to the all the values are being given to the application, and the application simply clicks next. And this is done by a robot, in fact. So if you see, the delay is with regards to the time taken by the website. So the first PDF is created, and you see the PDF got downloaded. So similarly, it will once again come back. Now the second certificate details are being submitted. So for standing second in the paper presentation, or first in paper presentation, and again he clicks next, and so on. He's going to basically do that for a lot of certificates. And by the end of the automation, if you see the automation, I think I'll just go back here. If you see, the automation basically started off, as you see, this is done during 11th March. So it started at 10:06 and it completed at probably at 10:09. And the delay for creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so sorry. All right, the delay for creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 certificates is 3 minutes. And 3 minutes also can be cut down provided we have the certificate format with us. So, so today, by the end of the session, I think I'll be showcasing you one small demonstration where the certificate format will be there with us. And we are going to create those certificates in no time, using automation. And see, all these are going to be the certificates which essentially are generated by the end of automation. So good. Now let's start understanding what is Excel and a workbook. So Excel is a kind of an application which has different components to it. As we already know, most of us have used this day in, day out. So a cell is kind of considered a single entity, a box where you enter data, and then column is going to be considered as a collection of cells which are there across all rows present in the sheet. Workbook is kind of considered the total application which has more than one sheets in it. Worksheet corresponds to only one sheet, which is a collection of rows and columns. And a row is something which is corresponding to the LO1, which you can see. So it is the very lame structure of we storing data, where you have just rows and columns, and you can simply store and retrieve data for everyday's usage. Right. So how do you manipulate these workbooks? You can do that in two levels. For the first level is going to be at file level. The second is going to be at workbook level. So when I say file level, then this is where you essentially need not have the application installed, but the understanding is only there with regards to what the .xlsx file is, known for. Only it understands .xlsx format. It will not understand even CSV in that case. All right. So, but Excel app integration, whenever you are using the activity, inbuilt activity, which is called Excel app integration, then you drag and drop that. Then here, I think you can play around with .xls, .xlsm, and .csvs also. All right. So depending on the use case, that means there are applications which you want to deploy where Office not necessarily is needed, because Office is costly. You cannot kind of afford to have Office where you are doing automation. So in that case, we probably can go with this, where it's all about using the Excel file for reading and writing content. But here it is more of you have complex macros also written as a part of your Excel, and also there are some there is some logic also there, VB logic, which is sitting in the back end. Then I think in that case probably we'll have to go and use the Excel app integration. All right, so common activities for workbook and Excel automation. So when I say workbook, then you're talking about the entire, Excel, which contains more than one sheet. So what are those activities which are there, which are pre-built as a part of our UiPath Studio? So starting with the first one, which is called append range. Okay, this is an activity. We'll try to cover most of them. We'll try to cover most of them during our demos. So append range, but the slight introduction is needed. So we are going a bit into the theory. So append range, what this is going to do. All right, have we covered something called data table already in any use cases earlier? I guess we won't. Okay, so what happens is, as you know, it is kind of not a good idea or strategy to always hit your storage. It is not a good idea to hit the storage, because when you hit the storage in the sense hard disk, the files, the contents which is saved in the hard disk, if more frequently you are kind of accessing or retrieving the content from this hard disk, then we are unnecessarily adding latency. Why? Because hard disks are considerably slower, and the rate at which you read and write is obviously going to be slower. So then what you should do, the easier solution would be, we would keep the content in our cache memory, assuming that you have high availability use case setup available. Then because data loss will be low, you kind of keep all of this content in your cache memory and read and write content from the local cache itself. When I say local cache, then all of this content which is there as a part of your Excel, the Excel could be like 1 MB or 10 MB or 100 MB sometimes. So all of this content is kind of saved as a data table. By default, when you read content from a CSV, that content which you are reading is going to be in the form of a data table in UiPath. We call that as a data table. And whenever you are trying to write some content back onto the Excel, then also it is kind of writing content not directly to the CSV or the Excel. It is writing into the data table, and then we write this data table as needed. You can write that data table into a Word file. You can write that data table into an Excel file also. So essentially, you will see a table coming up there. So with this, I think it is known that for us, a data table essentially is necessary. All right. So having said that, when you say append range, this is an activity which basically adds the information from a data table. Okay, as I said, whatever cache content you are keeping, rows and column structure, whatever you're keeping that in your cache, that content to a specified spreadsheet. When you want to add this data table into the spreadsheet, then you can specify the range starting from column index A, row index 1 to column index J, row index 85. So this will be the table which we are going to essentially append. Okay, append starting from which location, that also you can specify. And then get table range locates and extracts the range of an Excel table. That means you don't want the entire content from the Excel, you only want a portion of it. And then read cell is going to, as you know, it is only talking about reading content specifically with respect to a cell only. And read cell formula also is there, where it, instead of reading the cell, it will read the formula which is there behind that cell. And it will read column, reads a column starting with the cell given by the user. All right. So that means you want the only fourth column in the entire Excel. Okay, then it retrieves only that as an array for us. And then read range is also similar to what append range is, but append range basically writes it back. Read range is going to read it from the, I should say, Excel. And read range essentially tries to understand from where to where, what is the range, and only brings that set of rows and columns. Read row, only a specific row. Write cell, only into a particular cell. And write range, you are basically taking this range and you are writing that into CSV. We are only going to use write range in that use case where you know that the starting field where you want to write is probably from the start of your CSV. All right. If not, then you are only going to use append range, because here the provision is provided for us to specify from where. Right. So these are few things which I wanted to talk about with regards to having the activities which are there that pertain to your Excel automation. So there are a lot of things which we can do, not just this. So let's quickly jump on to one use case where this is what we wanted to do now. It's a very small activity to start off understanding what is Excel automation, and we are only going to use a read range activity here. So what we are going to do, we are going to read a range of values which are present in the Excel. And in this range, what do we have? We have like some list of students here. They said 10. We have more than 10, in fact. So 10 students, and we have the ages of these 10 students. Okay, that means that there is the CSV. I'll just show you that CSV so that it will become very clear. Load up. So we just have a single column. Okay, the column at title being age, and the values being the student ages. Okay, the ages starting from 19 say 25 tak. So we have like 11 columns as such, no problem. So we just have ages of the students. Now what is our intention is, you want to basically read this entire CSV, take the values which are there, which are considered as the ages of the students. So we are going to read a range starting from here to here. And for each value which we are trying to read, we are going to essentially compute what is the age which, the year in which he is born. Okay, whoever it is, boy or girl, we don't mind. So year in which this person is right now born. So all we need to do is take the current year, all right, subtract 11 from it, and you get some number. That is the number you are supposed to print here. Similarly, the logic basically applies to all of these values as well. So that means end of the day, we want what? We want to read these values, each value by value, compute the year in which he is born, and then write that value back into this CSV or Excel, and then write the same thing across all of these, save this particular Excel and close it. This is the automation we want to do. This is just a very elementary thing. So what do you think essentially we should do right now? So we want to kind of use a read range activity, okay, and read all of this content. As I told you, I mean, whenever you are reading or writing content, always what we do, we are going to read that in the form of a data table. So all this content is going to be stored as a data table for us. What we need to do, we just need to name the variables. That's it, nothing more than that. If we can write the algorithm, it's more than enough. So the first step is that we are going to read content, create a data table, and keep all of these values there. Second step, now we have the data table. What you need to do, we need to create a new column index. All right, what should be the new column index? Probably year of birth, maybe something like this. This should come up, okay, and this is where we need to write the logic for. It's simple logic, right? So what we need to do, take the current year from our calendar, system calendar, the time what we have here, right? So we already know that the time is probably 2020 is the year right now. So because we only have the year what he had, so 2020 minus 11, it is going to obviously be 20. How much is it? 2020 minus 2009. Right, this is the output which we want. Like that, we want the output for the rest of the fields. So it is going to be a two-way approach. I mean, how you want to write the logic is your choice. Whether you are going to write the value into the cell, which we have seen that, right? A write cell. This is what you can do. What value you are going to write? Read cell here. Compute the value, write cell. This is what you can do. But if you're doing this, then you have kept the CSV open and you're trying to write the content into CSV one after the other. This is going to be probably time taking, and also resource consumption also will be high. Why? Because if there are more number of values, then if the CSV is kind of kept open for a very long time, then it is unnecessarily consuming RAM. Instead, what you can do, you create that entire data table with all those values and write that table all at once. So that should probably be much simpler. Okay, I don't save this. Let the automation take care of it. So I already kind of have written and kept it ready. Let's go step by step. So as you know, this is how the UiPath Studio basically looks like. And let's quickly run through them. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to basically use a read range activity. All right. So read range activity is trying to open a particular file without knowing the file being a .xlsx, because read range only expects you to submit a XLSX. It need not have a scope of your Excel. All right, so what do? We basically drag and drop that read range activity and select the student age. All right, and are trying to specify what is the sheet from which you want to read the content. All right, the content is the content probably is available in sheet 1. If there are many sheets, then you can basically specify all the names of the sheets, or you only want to specify the range, you can specify the range as well. How do you specify the range? It is like this: A1 se leke A12 tak. Okay, this also is possible. You can specify the range. That means only within this range the values are basically read. We are not interested in giving read range for the first use case. Then what we are trying to do, as discussed, we want to add a column. All right, we wanted to add a column, and the column is supposed to have a name. That column is supposed to have a name and also location. Okay, this is the name of the column, and where do you want to add this? It is obviously going to get inserted after your existing column. All right, so then there is a method called, okay, by the way, what will this read range activity give us is, yeah, go back to properties, open the properties of read range, and you see these are the properties which are there for your read range activity. All right, in this we are, because we did not see, UI itself is going to give some property values which you can enter, or you can open this property properties explorer, and kind of give those values here. All right, so I did not want to specify the range. I want to read the entire sheet, as in this case, and I'm trying to give the path. Okay, where is the path? Path is basically entered here. And if this particular XLSX file is kind of password protected, then there is a provision for you to also give the password, so that the bot basically, when it opens, it also unlocks it. And do you want to include the headers or not? Header as in age. And if there are any more column headers, if you want to include them, let's include them, because we want to kind of again create the CSV back, right? So
Coding.
all right, and finally,
What are the main
uh,
objective you are going to study? Pulse modulation.
is it possible for me to mute?
There we are having one syllabus, and it go for pulse code modulation. Process of converting.
Will it be possible for you to mute?
So can you able to see this?
No, I guess.
The process of converting.
I think there is a class happening in the background. Okay, so far so good. So and then finally, what we need to give is what did read range do? Read range is kind of expected to give us a data table. Read range is expected to give us a data table. So this is the data table which is going to be the output for. So the easiest way in which you can create a variable is by pressing a shortcut called Control K and give the name of that particular variable. So if you see, I already have created the variable. So the name of the variable is student underscore age. All right. So that is the data table which we have to write. Make sense? Okay. So effectively, what did we do? We just dragged and dropped the read range activity, specified the location of the file, specified the sheet or the range if you want to read, and then what should be the output of reading this? The output of reading this should be a data table. Okay, and that data table is kind of getting saved in a variable, and the variable name is some name, whatever name you want to give. Now, next thing, now you have the data table. Using in this data table, what you should do, you should essentially add the next column. What is the new column you want to add? Probably the year of birth. So we want to add that year of birth here, and by using another activity called add data column. So where do you want to add this data column? We want to add it to a existing data table whose name is student underscore age. And what will be the new column you want to add? Just like what we have seen in the Excel, we want to add a new data column whose name is year of passing. Give any name. This is just a string. You just need to give it in double quotes. All right, and that's it. Close it. So now what is the and after this, what is the state of our data table? So our data table have age. There are 11 records of age are there, and a second column right now got created whose name is year of passing. All right, moving on. Now we want to loop through the values which are basically there in our data table. So there is a activity called as for each row. All right. There are two types of for eaches actually. One is called for each and the other one is for each row. For each basically iterates through any collection, and for each row is an activity which you are going to use to iterate through the data table. All right. So I'm going to loop through this data table so that the data, as you know, the name of the data table is student underscore age. And what should I do? Once I loop through, every time I loop the value, just like for each, right? If you are aware of object-oriented programming constructs, then for each, whatever value is there in here is assigned to the row variable. All right. So now in the row variable, what do I have? All the entire row attributes, starting from how many columns are there, all those are basically available in the first iteration. So row of 0 corresponds to the first column. Row of 1, like the syntax looks like this. Row of 1 corresponds to the second column. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. All right. So we know that row of 0 is having the age of the student. We want to calculate the year of birth of that particular student. So what should be the logic? The logic should be simple. Take the current year from the system minus whatever is there, whatever value which is there at row of index 0. Row of index 0 was having the age, if you remember, the value was 11 earlier. So the syntax looks like this. Let me just open it. All right, so the syntax is simple. So date is a predefined class, today is also a predefined reference to that particular date class. Year is a function which brings the only year attribute of your entire date. So date says 10/9/2020, right? So it will only bring 2020. So 2020 is going to be integer. So out of this, from this integer, you want to simply subtract another integer which is present as a row of 0, presented row of 0. So whatever is the resultant, that is going to be saved right now at row of 1. So we use as assign activity, which you might have already covered in the previous sessions. So using assign activity, you are just trying to save this value in row of 1. So all this is happening only on the data table. We are not writing anything yet into the Excel. And then finally, there is something called output data table. So output data table is an activity which only prints the value in your output pane. All right, only in the output pane. Here, the value is just going to get displayed. It is not going to write it into CSV yet. Okay, so because you have written it here, the content is essentially going to be written into the data table, and it is not going to write anything anywhere into the CSV. So that means the column attributes are right now getting inserted slowly. So by the end of this loop, what happens? Age of the student equal year right line, to print the value whichever the content is there in the data table. So how are you going to move that? It is by using this output data table activity. So what are we, output data table means what? There is a data table called student underscore age. That data table's content you are simply trying to output as a string. Okay, this is just the text which you are, so we created another variable, and this variable is just a string variable. So whatever content which is there in the data table, so starting with age, year of birth, 11 2009. So all these 2 lines are getting appended to your student underscore year of birth. Loop iterates. Next is 25, for instance. Then year of birth is 1995. So that is getting appended to a student underscore year of birth. Like that, loop repeats basically, and you are just creating a string of your results, and you are printing that string of results. Good. After this, just see, I mean, we right now are interested right now in writing it back to the CSV. So this is where you are, I just wanted to showcase the Excel application scope as well. So I brought in an Excel application scope activity. So how do you get it? As you might have seen in the previous demos. So all you need to do is just click on that plus and type Excel, and you can see that these activities are already populated for us. So I use this Excel application scope, all right, and simply have given the location where I would like to save it. Okay, I would like to save it here, probably by giving it a new name, maybe student underscore year of birth. This is right now going to be the new CSV. Okay. All we need to do is just drag and drop the location where you want to essentially save it. All right, so we'll do that eventually. Why I'm saying it is, anyhow, when you do a right range activity, it is going to ask for it, and the location automatically is going to come up. Okay, so yeah, right range. So what data table you want to write? You want to write the data table which is called student underscore age. Now it is going to complain in which location you want to save this. Now you are going to specify the location. All right, so that means we are trying to overwrite it now. Where do you want to overwrite it? I don't want to overwrite it in the same file. I want to same sheet, in fact. I'm going to essentially what happened? Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to write it in the second sheet. That is what I have written. The same is the logic even here. All right, sounds good. All is well. Now, essentially, if you run this particular automation, it's very simple logic. I mean, nothing very interesting about it. But yeah, I mean, bits and pieces is what you are going to and finally get the integration for. Okay, some error. So read range what it says. Okay, just that the problem is because the Excel file is already kind of open, it is saying I cannot read it. Okay, let's just close that and retry it. Okay, so done. So you see the values right now got printed after calculating the age. So we should also be seeing the same in the CSV as well. So there should be a new sheet which gets created there. But somehow I think bot completed execution. See, the bot terminated execution after 16 seconds. So a new file got created, and this should have another sheet called sheet 2. And in that sheet 2, you are going to basically see that the values. Okay, but if you can observe, then you see the header is missing. All right, here the header is missing. So not a problem. It is just an option. So I deleted it just to ensure I run it again. Okay, so the problem, we have to actually select that option. So where do you select that option? We select that option here. Okay, add headers. When you are trying to write the range, you also try to add headers. When you do that, obviously it is going to add the headers as well. All right, let it run in the background. Let's quickly jump on to the next use case. So that was the first exercise. So this is the second exercise. So what we do is we are going to essentially build a workflow again using read range, but this time we are going to use an append range as well activity to read data from a workbook, all right, and append data to another workbook. Okay, reading from one workbook and writing it into another workbook. All right, so successfully this got executed. So let's quickly open that file and see. Obviously, you'll have the output because we enabled it. See, in sheet 2, I think we calculated the ages, so it's all fine. All right, so let's quickly jump on to our second use case. And the second use case is we are going to read range and append range activity to read data from a workbook and append data to another workbook. So what does it take right now? So we are going to take an Excel that contains names of 5 cities in small letters, small case. Okay, and read the data using read range activity. That means all 5 cities we are going to read from there, and finally convert them into capital case. Simple. Why we are doing all these simple classroom exercises is because we'll get acclimatized. Taking a very large use case before that, I think we'll have to solve these small things, and then add the updated names in the new spreadsheet using append range activity. So let's quickly go and jump onto it as well. So I have it here. I kind of have kept it ready. Okay, so let's quickly load that up. Meanwhile, so that's the intention. So you'll have cities right now. Cities you are supposed to read. That means a read range. One after the other, you're going to read, convert that into uppercase, and then you are going to append this again back into another CSV which is already existing. Okay, so yes, so let's quickly try to see the city names, and also meanwhile open the workflow. Yeah, the workflow is open. So you see there are few city names here which are like 5 city names as we discussed. So all you need to do is you need to read these values which are not in uppercase, convert that into uppercase and save it. So now you see we are trying to take create a new sequence altogether. So how do you create a sequence? Just say and create a new sequence. That's it, and the sequence is kind of created for you. All right, then read range, again, the same use case which we have seen, drag and drop that read range activity. So open that particular CSV. This should result us in giving a data table, and we name that data table as city names. All right. And then we essentially have created one data column. Okay, we have created one data column just like we have done earlier. So city in capital letters, the same city in names. Okay, using the data table, loop through it, the same use case again. I mean, instead of you subtracting two values, we right now have converted the lower case to uppercase. So using say simple string functions, string handling functions. So all you are doing to going to invoke is to upper. That's it. So whatever value which you are reading from the row 0 is having the name of the city. That row 0 is kind of getting converted into string if it is not, and then you are taking the uppercase that you are assigning it into row 1. Simple. And this loop repeats. So all the values are getting updated in your data table. And finally, you are appending the entire range, all right, the entire range of the city names into sheet 1 by specifying a new, a kind of XLSX. So let me just delete this and run this workflow. So it's running right now. If you can see it here, it's just kind of running. It will right now open the city names. The city names is opened, and a new file should get created. If I refresh, wonderful. A new file got created called city in capitals. Bingo. So we have the values. Again, the thing is missing for us. The header is missing. So the header, you need to enable that. Where do you enable the header? Again, it should be in here. Okay, if it is not in here, then what you can do is, all right, here also it's not there, then it's very easy. Before you start adding the values into the data table, you simply are going to add a data row. Okay, you're going to simply add a data row where this row is going to have values, where the values are primarily specified as what was that, city, comma, city in capitals. You should add an array row, in fact. Okay. And to whom are we adding? We are adding to the city names, right? Yes. So we are adding this to city names. So what will happen right now? There are two columns, but the column headers are missing. So we just have inserted the first column header row as a row, and then subsequently whatever values are being inserted, all those values are supposed to be coming up for us here, hopefully. All right. So let's quickly see that. Okay. So eventually, by the time that bots comes back to us, okay, it finished execution. So you have a city in capitals. So hopefully the row should get created, the header. Come on. All right. So see, okay. So why city got created? All right. Should not be a problem. I think it should be a small bug. So okay. So I've added a column. After that, all right, that is what we got, right? I think I should actually have to expand it. All right, so what it has done is, this is what happened actually. So what happened is, even this row, it is kind of considering it to be a row entry, and the name of the city is kind of city is what it is understanding, and it is converting that city into its uppercase. So we should basically be specifying it somewhere. I'll just tell you. And there should be somewhere where it says, just like in the previous example where we are saying add headers, right? Like that, it should also be showing us somewhere. Okay, we are saying add headers here, though, so the header is anyhow coming in the data table, but that header is not going inside our Excel range. That is the problem. Okay. Anyway, I'll just fix it up by the end of the session. We'll just complete the subsequent things. I also wanted to show you the use case. It's a very simple thing. I'll be able to easily figure it out. But we will quickly run through the next use case because we wanted to. Half time is already over. So Excel application. So as you see, this is going to be a new activity. If you remember, I think in the previous student age exercise, we have opened that Excel application scope. And in this Excel application scope, what you had the Excel workbook path as well, which was specifying the location where the Excel as a workbook is kind of located. And if you are enabling these options, which is like auto save, when you select this, then the Excel file is automatically going to get saved when the entire bot completes its execution. Create a new file, that means it creates a copy of this file and saves it. Read only prevents any read write activities which the bot generally does. If you don't want the bot to do any read write activities even during the execution, then you enable it. And visible, if it is kind of selected, then it opens and reads the value in front of her, or else it does the actions in the background. Right. So there are few activities which are there. Again, as I told you, we are going to take up a few of them. Not all are going to be possible in one day. So 1.5 hours, in fact. So we are going to take few of them. We'll take filter activity. We are going to take insert columns. We are going to see append to CSV, read CSV, write CSV are going to be done. We don't touch this pivot and macro activities as such. But so what happens, by the way? So CSV is so when you are opening an Excel application activity, so in this Excel application activity, you have different activities which are like append, which are corresponding to CSV, while reading and writing CSV and appending content to the CSV. These are the activities which corresponds to a CSV. Range is kind of a activity which allows you to decide which portion of the columns and rows you want to identify and choose the range for reading content. Table is very important. This is extensively used when you are and very essential to apply as well. Why? Because when you convert your CSV into a data table, then this data table is what you are going to use to perform different operations. So, for instance, you only want students who probably are having attendance which is less than 75 or 65%. Then that is where you can use filtered data table. You only want for placements, you only want students who are having CGPA which is in a sorted order starting from the top to the bottom, and the interviewer has got the opportunity to pick whatever he wants to. And then you also can create yourself a new data table which we are going to see shortly, and then all the content is going to kind of get stored. I mean, what the read activity is going to create data table for us automatically, or what this create table is going to do is you yourself, without reading any content, you can create a data table for yourself by invoking this create table activity. Close and save workbook. Save workbook, as I told you, is optional. This is actually there in the previous releases, but it is still there. Probably shortly is going to get deprecated. So save workbook is an option which is used when you want to save explicitly, but auto save is an option which is there, which only happens before you close it. So save workbook is going to be needed. That means when you are working and partially it's taking too long and the automation process is taking like half an hour, it is a good idea for you to save after some delay. So introduce delay and also trigger this activity called save workbook. Close workbook, you know what it means. And also you can talk to the Excel cells based on the color. Most of the Excel files these days are going to have conditional formatting. So with conditional formatting, the advantage is you can color your cells based on conditions. So based on conditions also, you can retrieve the content for doing automation as well. And then you can color them, you can get the existing color as well. All right. So that is what cell color talks about. Sheet, get worksheet, get worksheets. You want to work with all of them, you only want to work a specific sheet, or you want to kind of copy, move the sheet which is there in one workbook to the end of it, or probably move it from one location to another. All of this is possible. Pivots, as you know, are going to use for reporting, extremely useful, but we don't take up any kind of hands-on on pivots because it is kind of totally a different class altogether. And macros also, yes, it is very easy for us to create a VBA scripts for Excel, which looks into the code. And if you want, you can explicitly invoke this macro to get triggered based on some conditions. All right, so all of these are going to be the activities, and we will basically see what application scope means. But I think we just got introduced to in the previous use case where we wanted to write the content back into the Excel, right? So then we have used an Excel application scope, specified which Excel are we talking to, and try to do whether read or write range activities as needed. All right, so how to write to an Excel? Yes, by the way, I did not again come back to the use case of what Excel automation does because I wanted to show a very big use case as such. So I will try to show you step by step while we understanding that use case, which you can take away from the session, which I'm also interested in sharing the entire solution set which I have created for myself, which you can slightly customize and use it according to your use case. Now let's quickly talk about word automation. So Word as such, I think, is a very new introduction into the environment. Earlier, word automation was done in a different way altogether. So what they used to do was they used to create the entire content which is supposed to be created as a part of the Word in a notepad, and then but do a if you understand what is mail merge, just like how you do mail merge, they used to just replace the text with the appropriate locations at the appropriate location by identifying the strings. So it is more of like you doing a string replace earlier back then. But with the current day, I think the requirements also are growing more and more with regards to word automation as such, because there are, as you see, I mean, for certification creation itself, you cannot edit a PDF document so easily or comfortably as you edit that in a Word. Right. So, because you are trying to kind of use a robot for doing word related activities as well. I mean, if our students are getting to know that such a, such a situation is there, then they will probably skip writing their assignments and probably kind of use a bot to finish the assignments as such. So, but all that is in fact possible with regards to the UiPath Studio. So we will not look into the example which is done in also as such in UiPath Studio as such. With regards to your word automation, there is only one application, one activity called word application scope. Just like how you have Excel application scope here, right? Means you are opening a Excel document and you are trying to do something in the scope. So scope means kya? So scope is like within the scope, whatever activities you do within inside this corresponding to XLS. All right. Similarly, when you say word scope, all right, word application scope, within that scope, whatever activities you are going to do are corresponding to a Word document. So what we do is we will right now switch our license to a Studio X. I think when you install Studio X license is also going to be available for all our Academic Alliance use cases. So how do you do that? Okay, let me just quickly come back and show it to you. If it is already shown, then nothing like it, or else just have a look at it. So go to settings, click on license and profile, click on view or change profile, and click UiPath Studio X. So a brief introduction on what UiPath Studio X is. Studio X is even more, much more refined version of you using this product UiPath, where I can probably say that completely zero knowledge on programming will actually help anybody to do automation. So not necessarily anybody who is only computer science literate should use. No, it is not like that. This UiPath can also be done by people who are not literates on computers, as well as people who are pretty younger in age as well. So the layout essentially looks like this. The essential layout basically looks like this. So just the color change and some content is done. So what happens is we want to create a student resumes. Just as we want, because we address probably their photograph and their achievements, their skill set, their project work and all that. So most of the students' expectation is to have all of these. So I know for you have, then I think this automation essentially help student and more. First, we need to have, for doing any word automation, we should essentially have a word template as in which word file which has the location where you want to identify where your logo should come, where the email ID should come, where the name of the candidate should come, where the experience of project should come, like that. We essentially need to identify the markers in the word, and that will become a template file for us. So this template file essentially helps us replace content with the content which we have that corresponds to the students. So this is what we have. We are going to use a word template as such, and then read the content which was available in the Excel. That's why I said, I mean, we are going to take it up. Anyone will in turn need the Excel automation as well. So you are going to read the entire content there in the Excel file, create a data table, and then read row by row, column by column of a specific student, and then replace this content back to the location where the students, resumes content is to be replaced. So that is what, replace words, content, templates, image, and then replace that using the textual images as well, if there are any. So let me quickly jump on to the example which I have created. Okay, it's taking a while. It should be up in any time. Yes, I think it's up. Sure thing. All right. So I have use cases actually, and that's the reason why I have commented the code. Here there are some commented lines of code. We can try that out as well. So what is our intention? Our intention basically is to open up. All right, just give me a minute. I'll just open this in the documents. Right. So what do I basically have here? Okay, this is what I tried yesterday night. Okay, so yeah. So this is the template of the word which I have, and using this template we want to create resumes. All right. So a template where you are going to basically have the marker for where the image is going to come, probably if the student image or the student's achievements, maybe with the kind of what medals these days they are getting, right? Any certification they are doing, they're getting those things. So badges is the right word. So here it comes. Any profile details, if there is any text coming up, then it will come here. The name actually comes here. His phone number comes here. Email ID comes there. And experience with regards to their project. So probably the project title and the project details and so on. Education, the background of the student's education, probably 10th or intermediate, and then that's it. I think the resume gets created. So what we can do right now is, so this is the template we have in hand, and then the data from which you wanted to read the values which has to be replaced, so that the the word automation, word file, experience details, all right, and the education details. So all of these are there. So what's about, and then their phone number, email. IDs. And as you know how we are going to read this CSV, probably open the Excel application scope. Within that, you are going to do a read range. Once you do the read range, you will append the so you will get the data table. Once you get the data table, you are going to loop through this data table. Sorry, you will going to loop through the data table, and for each row, you are going to get the values, right? What are the values? Row of 0 is going to contain the name. Row of 1 is going to basically contain the phone number. Row of 2 is going to contain email ID. Row of 3 is going to contain the profile details. 4 is going to contain experience, and so on. All right. So all it takes right now for us is to know this content is to be replaced somewhere in the Word document. That means you should know where to replace the Excel's content in the Word's content. So all we need to have is the markers. That's why I said markers. So what are these markers? Markers are going to be those which identify the content to be replaced in the text in this document. So in this case, replace that name with the row of 0, where I'm going to find this constant number. Okay, this is the template, right? Template won't change. Template is the same. So wherever I'm going to find this, phone number, I'm going to replace it there. Wherever I'm going to find this email ID, I'm going to replace it there. Wherever I'm going to, now there is a tricky part which comes here. So if for instance, if you are going to replace, okay, if you're going to replace experience with something else, probably architect, right? Then the word basically replaces wherever it comes out. All right, but according to our understanding, this is a different marker. Experience 2 details is a different marker, and experience 2 is a different marker. So how do we go about it? How do we go about it? The easiest way to go about it is first replace this fellow, then replace the experience 2. Okay, the larger string is what you identify first, replace that, and then identify the smaller string. So that will be an easier way to do about it. All right, so let's quickly jump onto the logic. Okay, so what do you do now? See, have you seen the interface slightly have changed? So this is for I think those who want to do POCs. For instance, if our students are going to be a RPA developer and they essentially want to go and present this their automation work to some client, then for them I think it should be easy for them to create a automation effort in front of the customers. Oh, sorry, I'm actually sharing something. You cannot see it. I'm sharing my entire screen, by the way. I have shared my entire screen earlier as well. Oh, so sorry. Oh, were you not able to see the UiPath Studio X? Okay, that was. So if you want to switch between Studio and Studio X, if you were missing that out, then all you need to do is click on Settings, click on License and Profile, click on View or Change Profile, and select between them. Okay, and select between them. Now I have selected UiPath Studio X. So this is how it looks like. All right, this is how it looks like. And all we need to do right now is create resumes. When you are creating resumes, you want a template. Having said that, you have a template. Now identify what content needs to be replaced within this template. All right, so what did we do? We simply used the Excel activity. So just find out where Excel is. Okay, click on Excel. So these are all the Excel activities which are available for us in Studio. The same are going to be available for us even in Studio, but here it is more convenient for us to use. Okay, here it is more convenient for us to use. Actually, I'm also very for the when I wanted to do a session here. I think I have and I learned this automation from Academy, because or else word automation was not there in the earlier Academy. Anyways, so this is how we have created a new sequence. Okay, in this new sequence, all we wanted to do was drag and drop a use Excel file. Okay, basically what we have done, okay, let me do it this way, or else I'll close this, I'll comment this. Yes, I commented it. Okay, all we need to do is, that's it. All right, drag and drop. Once you drag and drop this Excel file, then it is going to ask you to browse that particular. So which file are we right now looking for? We are looking for this resume data. All right, so in the once the file is loaded, so what this basically gives us, this gives us a data table. Okay, if it was studio, then you would basically have to go here and kind of say identify, give the name for the studio. All of that is at least a bit of logical stuff. Now you need not worry about it anyways. So after this, what you should do once you have the resume, from that you want to read the content, right? So quickly come downstairs and see there should be something called where is that? Copy range, read. Yeah. All right. So I should right now specify what is the range. So what did I do? I should basically, if it was Studio X, then it would have been simpler. It would have been a little structured, in fact, where you read the data table. From the data table, you read the content, and then say for that you need to use a read range activity as such. So, but here once you said in Excel scope, then it automatically creates that read range activity for us in the background. And once that data table is ready for us, you need to specify what is the range. So the range is what you are going to specify to be the entire table, like this. Okay, because you are there in the Excel scope itself, here, you are trying to specify the range only by using mouse clicks. Okay, so within this entire range, you want to do something. What do you want to do now? I'm looping through that for getting what? That means first time I'm going to get the first row. First row is having flying robot, second is crawling robot. So first row, when you're trying to read, what do you want? You want the name of the student, for instance. Okay, so name of the student, I should see there should be something called assign. Okay, not there. Append line, append text. No. It should be. Okay. So whenever I'm doing an activity, all I basically, okay, let me do it this way because that's the reason why I don't strongly believe in giving you a demo. Let me just comment it, open this and comment this. All right. Read cell value. That's the new, this thing, what you say, activity here in Studio X. So in Studio, it would have been easy. It should have been assign activity, and when you bring the assign activity, you would have created a variable. The variable is name, and you would have assigned that variable name with the row of 0. But here, what do? You are going to say read cell value. So where do you find that? It is somewhere here. So read cell value, dragged and dropped it. And which cell are you going to read? You are going to read the current row. In this current row, what is the value you want to read? I want to read name. Okay, and to what you want to basically assign this value which you have read to, you want to assign that value to a variable. Okay, so what is the variable? Create a new variable now. Okay, save for later use. All right, this is the variable I want to create, name. Okay, that means when the loop iterates, the name is going to come and get stored in this variable. Similarly, in the current row, I'm trying to read the phone number. In the current row, I'm trying to read the description. In the current row, I'm trying to read the email ID. Like this, you would replace all of that stuff. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm just copying the template file into another temporary file. Why? Because if I am writing the content into the template, then you know that the bots are going to automatically save it. So you will lose the template format. So I'm simply trying to make a copy of that into another file. If this file is already existing, then I simply say overwrite. So resume underscore template is the one which is going to be used for creating the resume. Perfect. And then what did I do? I used a Word file. This is where the word automation comes into place. Okay. So yes. So these are the activities which are there in the Word file, which we have seen in the slide here. So all of these are going to be the actions. Let's quickly come back. So okay. So in this scope, I am trying to load what the file which I am right now interested in. So one second. So the template which I have created is from this file. Okay, the template which I have created is going to be from this file, and the name of that file is going to be resume underscore template, which you are making a copy of. All right. So for right. So in this, now start identifying what you want to replace with what. So I am trying to replace. There is an image actually. I forgot to show you. Yeah, this is the image of the user which I want to replace. Okay, I'll have last 10 minutes. Alright, I want to replace an image with the image anchor. So where is the image anchor available? This is the image anchor. So how do I know where is the anchor for this particular image? So there is something called alt text for every for every image. You will see that there is something called alt text. All right, alt text is going to be the alternate text used to identify this particular image. Okay, like this, how many images you have? For all of these, you need to basically give a alternate text. Once you have given the alternate text, what you want to use is as the whole value, and with what I want to replace that with a file which is actually available in my resources. So it is there right now here, and this is I want to right now replace it with. Then what next? I want to replace what next right now? I want to replace a text. Okay, I want to replace a text. Where is this error? Should be in capital letters. I think sensitivity is always not a problem. So that name is basically replaced with what variable which you are reading from where? From the number that I have received, the email ID which is there in the template with the email ID which I read from the word from the CSV. And then finally, I have seen it here that particular value. Okay, with what name you want to save it? Obviously, student resumes, right? So whenever there is a student name coming up there in the Excel file, use the same name. .pdf is what so what will have number and the image and replace that in the location which you have specified. If needed, not necessary here anyways, but I like cleaning resources. So what did I do? I am deleting that once the entire for loop is completed. Once the entire for loop, because this is a temporary file which I'm creating, right, for the purpose of saving the resumes. So if you are going to quickly run this, okay, so what will happen is, so here, when the bot basically runs, a new template is going to get created. Is the bot started? Okay. Yes, the bot started. it is reading the content from the resume template. Okay, it created the new resume underscore template. Now it opens this resume underscore template doc, okay, and replaces that placeholder of the image with the flying robot .png file. Okay, something happened. Excel file replace phone. Let me come back to it. Closed. All right. All right. So hopefully the bot is running right now. Yes, it is running. So it is in. Yeah, it is reading content with this. It will also read the crawling robot entries, and crawling robot.pdf also is going to get created. See, the bot is still running. I think the crawling robot. See, right now I've opened that on the participant able to see it. And in a minute, I think the crawl. And this is a resume. So when you open these files, then it is only the profile is what we basically have copied. Similarly, we can copy the experience details and all this stuff as well. So far, so good. Wonderful. So that was a so now this is the final which is not there, but I kind of have created one to show you that use case. So quickly, so what is the use case which we have developed as? I think I wanted to showcase this to you, but the same is the use case. Instead of certificate, it will basically send a reminder. Actually, this application was developed for a small NGO, which I have myself. What we are doing is it's an old age home, so where we look after the people who are who join us. And then we have a list of donors actually, and these donors every year they kind of donate during their own a personal remembrance of somebody, or they wanted to do on some occasion they come down and give us the donations. And we wanted to we every time since the day before we developed this application, what happened was we used to send them inland letters. Inland letters were posted, and people changed their addresses. People kind of and these are coming back, bouncing back to us. So we wanted to develop an application there and then replace the entire inland letters with the automation. So what we have done, I have kind of list of all the donors with me, and I simply have used the word automation for creating the invitation, which we print generally on the inland letter. And that is kind of uses a word. Excel, it reads the content saying who is the donor, what is the date which he donates, what is the purpose he donates this for, how much amount he donated, when is the last time he donated. So there are some attributes. So I'll pick all these values, I'll post these values into the Word document, convert this Word document into PDF, and send this PDF as a reminder for the donors over WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp. So I am trying to showcase that to you, but you can use the same application for sending the certificates over WhatsApp to all the participants as well. Where just replace the temp, things will all be same. So let me just quickly go through that. So I wanted to do it, but somehow I couldn't finish it. In fact, I didn't want to trouble the use case which is already developed. I should have, but anyways, I think I can develop that for NILT and give it back to them. It should not be a problem, and we can send. If you all the participants' WhatsApp numbers are active, then it will automatically send. All right. So let me just show you. I think I'll just delete these. So if Mr. Dubey is there online, then I think by the end of the automation, he should probably receive the invite for the NGO for which we have developed this application. All right, so it started. The application started. So what it does, as I told you, this is the use case. It picks up the list of donors. It creates a PDF of the user so that the invitation can be sent, and then converted that as a part of PDF and sends it to the WhatsApp. So it started. So I think it is done. And if it is at work, then you can see, yeah, see, this is my phone number, and it is kind of created that invite in a Word document, and that Word eventually gets converted into PDF, saves as PDF, right? So it got saved as PDF. So this is the file which is generated altogether. All right. And it will eventually slowly open WhatsApp. So you see the bot basically have opened WhatsApp, and this will actually open my WhatsApp as such. It's taking a while for loading WhatsApp. All right, it opened WhatsApp. Now it sees, it searches for my phone number, and it tries to attach the document which just now got created. All right, so this is the document which is appended, and it should basically click on send. So that send somehow is kind of failing. I didn't get it on my phone. That send is kind of failing. So that's a small fix. The reason why it is not sending it, yesterday night before I was, by the time I was making it ready, I checked it, and the options for redoing attachment for WhatsApp web used to be on the right side top corner. All right. And now, today in the morning when I opened web.whatsapp, the attachment actually have repositioned itself to the left side bottom corner. So this is the problem which happens in UI automation. If there is a change in the selector, you might have seen, if there is a repositioning of the selector which happens, then that is obviously going to create a problem for us. So let me in front of you how it where this invite for Mr. Dubey is kind of ready. So write that to Mr. Dubey. All right, this WhatsApp. The file saved on his number. Let me just stop it quickly here. Okay, so it has appended. Now this click needs flow, which in turn is created. So we have kind of internally in-house. And so this click, it is somehow not able to identify. Delay the hotkey which is enter. So let me just. Okay. So when I press enter, it's going. So delete it for a while. Okay. All right. So let me just increase the delay for this, because within 1 second it is unable to do that enter. So I think it should work now. And let me quickly go back and delete these files so that the automation triggers again. So that should be the fix. And let's restart the automation again. Right, so that was all which I had to discuss. So it's pretty easy for all of us to kind of go through. With this, I'll share this presentation also. Please try to have a look at the samples which I did not play in the interest of time. So as I told you, this is also a use case which we have created within our college for keeping our students informed about their attendance or for any other purposes. And we also are right now doing classes so online. So and for posting attendance, I'm again using a bot which actually posts the attendance online. So I cannot show you that because if I demonstrate that, it will post the attendance right now, which I cannot take back. So all right, so let's quickly see if the bot is doing its work. Last 2 minutes, yeah, the two things are created. I think the Chrome should open up now. Yes, Chrome got opened. Please go ahead. Meanwhile, if there are any questions which I can answer, I think I'm happy to take them up right now. Okay. So it should type my phone number. Okay. And it should find for that particular file. Okay, it is trying to find that file. Okay, yes. Okay, so the file is right now being internet disconnectivity a lot. Okay, it is sent now. So now I think the process is going ahead. Hopefully, Mr. Deepam should get this invite on his name. Yeah, so the Word document got created. Now this gets converted into a PDF. So what are the fields which we have in the CSV? These are the files which we have, fields which we have in CSV. And the same word automation, how you have seen in that Studio X. So, okay. What WhatsApp started. So, these are the content my paper is also kind of celebrating his birth by helping them unexpected. able to hear me? Shit. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, so sorry. I think by the end of this automation, I think I lost connection. But just let me finish this. Give me just last 2 minutes. Please stay with me. I think I got it over my WhatsApp. So what I'll do is I'll delete my entry. I'll only keep Deepam sir's entry. Control X, control. So, all we need to do is have this Excel always get populated, and then the automation without any problem will go ahead. So quickly one last time, I think. So sorry on that. I got connected with my hotspot with my phone. Hopefully this should not give us problem. So where are we? So this only runs for Mr. Dubey. Go ahead. Okay. One last time. Any questions? If there are, then I'm happy to take, or else. Are you able to see my screen? So it's going ahead. Okay, the invite is ready. Now it should probably open up the WhatsApp. Yes, it's opening WhatsApp now. Hopefully now the internet connection is reliable. Thank you. Finally, it's have you if you have seen, if you're following the thing, then I think there is no existence of any application which is running right now. If you see, I don't have my WhatsApp web platform as well. It kind of closed, and if I'm not wrong, I think Mr. Deepam should have already received it, the invite. Mr. Deepam, please delete it. I mean, I know it doesn't add value, but that's okay. The automation I wanted to showcase to you. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. RP is absolute fun. All it takes is for us to write the right use case, which you can think of adopting, and then we can get going. I mean, there are many places even educators like us can use it. So I think I'm done. Yes, I think it is there. So if Mr. Deepam want to have a look at it, I think he can. Or else, but as you know, our WhatsApp thing, this is kind of double tick is kind of delivered. So not to disturb Mr. Deepam, so I'll delete it. If you want, have a look at the document here itself. So this is the document which we have sent. If Deepam sir can kindly confirm if this file is the content he has received, then nothing like it. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. So that's it, dear participants, all fellow faculty. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Mr. Deepam sir and Shalini ma'am. I once again take this opportunity to thank UiPath and NILET Gorakhpur for extending such a support. It was a very nice organization from my end. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and stay safe, sir. Stay safe, everybody.